Hi guys, welcome to week 6. I'm going to go over your week 6 assignments. I hope you're doing good so far. Make sure if you have any missing assignments, I've gone through and I've put zeros for those assignments, but you can still make them up. There's a percentage off for assignments being late, so you don't want to turn in assignments late, but you can always still turn them in. And partial credit is better than no credit. So make sure, check if you have any zeros for assignments, make sure you get those in. If you need to take any of the quizzes, look through your feed for our class, go to the page for our class and look through the feed and click the Take Quiz button and take those quizzes right away. Of course, the quiz is online, right? So logically, you would be able to pull up your notes to help you with that quiz. So you should have those open to help you get a better score on that quiz while you're taking it. So make sure you're getting caught up on all those assignments. But here's week 6. Let's talk about what the assignments are for week 6. So all assignments are due on Monday, May 11th. So you have a week to complete all the assignments. The first assignment is the reproductive system notes. Now, this is not really something that you have to do. You don't have to turn anything in for this first one, but you're going to have to watch this video and watch the notes to be able to do the other assignments. So really, there's only 3 assignments because this isn't really something you have to do anything for. So you're going to watch this video. I'll go over the notes after I go over these assignments, and you're going to use the notes to be able to complete the other assignments in this video. And then you know about searching for the videos and things. Obviously made it to the right place, right? Because you're watching the video. Assignment 2 is the female reproductive system drawing. So now we are into the part of the human body on the reproductive system. So using the reproductive system notes that are toward the end of this video, step 1, draw a diagram of the female reproductive system as shown in the picture example. So this is the reproductive system of a woman's body. This is the inside here, right? So you're going to draw this picture with the arrows, number the parts here like I have, get that on your paper, and then step 2, you're going to label all the parts of the female reproductive system using the notes and research online. You could look up diagrams of the female reproductive system. You can watch toward the end of this video and just pause it and look at the parts. Label all of the parts of the female reproductive system shown below. So ovaries, oviduct, also called fallopian tube, uterus, uterus lining, egg, follicle, cervix, vagina. You need to label all of those on this chart here on your paper. Step 3, on your drawing, next to the name of each of the parts of the female reproductive system, write the function of the part. Use the functions listed below. This is an important step, and it's part of the grade for this assignment. Leave yourself plenty of room on your paper to be able to write the functions next to the name, where you label the names for the parts. If you leave off the functions, I'm going to take off a significant chunk of the points for this assignment. So make sure you're writing out these full functions on your paper. So somewhere you have to match up these functions with the names of the parts. So opening of the uterus that leads to the vagina, the female reproductive organ in which eggs are produced. You need to match up those to the parts and write it next to the name of the part on your diagram. So that's step 3. So we're complete with the assignment. We've got it done. How do we turn it in? You're going to take a picture of your drawing with your phone. Look at your picture to make sure I can read and see everything. Then email myself, Mr. Harrah, if you're in first, third, or fourth period. Or if you're in 6th or 7th period, you can email it to Mr. Mitchell or to Mr. Harrah. That's how you're going to turn in that assignment. So that is assignment 2. Now let's talk about assignment 3. Assignment 3 is the stages of human egg development descriptions. So we're going to be describing how a human egg develops all the way from ovulation, when a woman drops an egg and it's ready to be fertilized, all the way up until birth. We're going to be describing all of those steps. So step one, set up your paper as shown below with the stages of human egg development. So on your paper, or you can type it out in an EDSB message, you're going to write or type out day one, ovulation. Then give yourself a couple lines to write in the information about that stage. Then day two, fertilization. Give yourself a couple lines to write about that stage. So fill all of these in, day 4, day 10, 17, 26, 35, 150, 210, all the way to 266, which is the birth. So fill that out on your paper. Then step 2, using the reproductive system notes that are at the end of this video on your paper, fill in the descriptions of each of the stages of human egg development. So you're going to look at the notes toward the end of this video, and you'll use the notes to be able to fill in the description of each of these stages on your paper. Important though, part of step 2 here, you're going to make sure that somewhere in one of the stages, you don't have to use these in each stage, just in one of the stages, you need to use all these terms somewhere. And these are all in the notes where it describes each of the stages. You need to use all those terms, and then wherever you use them, you're going to underline or highlight the terms. That will be part of the grade. Underlining or highlighting. If you don't underline or highlight, I'm going to take off a chunk of points for not doing that. So for full credit, make sure you underline or highlight. This seems like a lot, but when you start looking at the notes, you'll see how easy it is, and this isn't really that bad. Okay, so once you get it all filled in with the description, you're using all these words here. Step 3, you're done. It's how to turn it in. You can take a picture of your paper with your phone, look at your picture, make sure I can read it and see everything, and then email it to Mr. Mitchell or to Mr. Harrah on EDSB, or type your answers into an EDSB message and send them to Mr. Mitchell or to Mr. Harrah, depending on what period that you're in. So that is, go back up here, that's assignment 3. And the next assignment, which really isn't a big deal at all, is responding to this week's poll question. You responding to the poll question and me keeping track of you logging into EDSB every day will be your attendance for this week. Plus, you'll get points for the assignment. So you have to log into EDSB, respond to this poll question. You have to have done some of your assignments, right? I have to have heard from you in an EDSB message. If you're not doing those things, then I will mark you absent for the week. If you've not done any of your work, you're not responding to the poll question, you haven't sent me any messages, I will mark you absent for the week. I'll send that into the office, and they will be calling home. They'll be contacting your parent or your guardian. So make sure you're working on those assignments. You're responding to the poll question. So to respond to the poll question, locate the poll question in your feed for the biology class. So you can look at the video we've seen here. It says, you're going to see something like this, like a little post, but it'll say, poll question, Mr. Harrah Biology, and you just click the answer that you want to choose. And then by clicking on that answer, you've completed that assignment, and that's it. So really for this week, assignment 4, that's not really anything. You just have to find the post and click on it. So that's not really even like an assignment. It's not much, just clicking on something. Assignment 3, that's actually like an assignment that's going to take you some time. And then assignment 2 is actually a real assignment. It's going to take you some time. Assignment 1, watching this video, you just got to watch the video. There's nothing you have to write or do for it, but you need that information to do assignments 2 and 3. So really this week, it's more like there's just 2 assignments. You know what I mean? So that's not that bad. And you've got 7 days to get them done. They're going to be due, Monday the 11th. All right. So that's all of the assignments for the week. Now, let me switch over to the PowerPoint. Last week it got messed up, so I'm going to make sure I do this right. So give me just a second, and I'm switching over to the PowerPoint. All right, now you should definitely be able to see it, okay? Let's go over the reproduction notes. We're not going to go over the male reproductive system this week, so I'm going to skip past some of the first slides on the male reproductive system. This week, we're going to go over the female reproductive system. So I'm going to skip past, and we're going to start here where it starts talking about ovulation and fertilization. All right, we'll go back and do the male part next week. All right, fertilization from ovulation to implantation. Sperm enter female's vagina and can survive for 48 hours. So sperm can live inside the woman's body for 48 hours. That's 2 days. A female unfertilized egg can only survive for 24 hours. So the period when a woman is fertile is about 24 hours, something like that. So it has to line up that 48 hours that the sperm is inside of her body and trying to reach the egg to fertilize it, and the 24 hours within which the egg is there and able to be fertilized. So fertilization can occur a few days before or ovulation to a day after. So think about it, if a couple has intercourse and it's like 2 days before the woman is ovulating, that sperm can stay in there for 2 days until she starts ovulating, right? So that's why it says a few days before to a few days after. Fertilization from ovulation to implantation. During ovulation, an egg is released to the fallopian tube, also known as the oviduct. So those words are going to be used interchangeably, where it waits for the sperm, right? So look here. It says ovulation, and I've underlined it and highlighted it. That is one of the stages for assignment 3, right? So they're underlined and they're highlighted as you go through the notes. How simple is that? During fertilization, one sperm cell cannot penetrate the membrane of the egg alone. It takes hundreds. Eventually, the plasma membrane weakens and one sperm cell slips in. So that's fertilization. Then, magic. Fertilization occurs as the egg and sperm fuse together. Once the egg and sperm fuse, it is referred to as a zygote, vocabulary term there. Fertilized egg moves toward the womb. Here's the next stage, bold and underlined for assignment 3. As the zygote travels down the oviduct toward the uterus, it is also growing. At this stage, it is referred to as a morula, meaning ball of cells. Blastocyst implants, next stage. By about the 10th day since fertilization, the morula is now referred to as the blastocyst, the embryo and the parts of the placenta. By the 10th day, the blastocyst has attached to the walls of the uterus, which is called implantation. There's a vocabulary term you need to use in that assignment, assignment 3. The blastocyst is now referred to as the embryo because it is attached to the uterine wall. Next stage, gastrulation. At about day 17, the embryo goes through a process called gastrulation, which is where 3 different layers of cells have formed, which will develop into different parts of the body. Next stage, neurulation. At about day 26, the embryo goes through a process called neurulation, where the spinal cord is, it should say where the spinal cord is formed, is the end of that, where the spinal cord is formed. After 8 weeks of development, the embryo is referred to as the fetus by science up until the day it's born. It's referred to the fetus by science up until the day it's born. I will post these slides, and there's some videos, like I could click on this link and it shows you a video of conception I'm not going to make you watch like a real birth video or anything like that, so don't worry about it. But I believe this is like an animation. And then here we have a picture showing all the different stages of development so you can actually see what it looks like. You want to familiarize yourself with these because for that end of the year test, I don't know if they'll make you take it next year or something. I don't know yet. You might have to know what they look like. We'll see. 3 trimesters of pregnancy. On average, development takes 266 days. So from fertilization till the baby's born takes about 266 days. And there are 3 trimesters of pregnancy. Those are the 3 stages of pregnancy. They're divided into 3 trimesters. Each are about 3 months long. So the first 3 months that a woman is pregnant, months 1, 2, and 3, that's the first trimester. Months 4, 5, and 6, that's the second trimester. And months 7, 8, and 9, that's the third trimester. So 3 trimesters of pregnancy. So let's talk about the first trimester. Here's some sonograms. When a woman is pregnant, the couple will go to the doctor and the doctor will do a sonogram. They can actually look inside the woman's body from the outside. And here's a 3D rendering. There's the baby's face on a sonogram there. So during the first trimester, all tissue, organs, and organ systems begin to develop. The embryo is vulnerable to alcohol, tobacco, drugs, and pollutants. That's why a woman doesn't want to drink alcohol, to smoke, or do chewing tobacco, use drugs, take anything into her body that's going to be bad. Even like caffeine is probably not a good idea during pregnancy. Vitamins and nutrients are essential. It's important when you're going to have a baby, you want to do it on your own terms. Plan when you're going to have a baby, right? It's better to do it that way. Wouldn't you rather plan when you're going to have a baby? And then you can go to the doctor, you can get advice before you even get pregnant. They can put the woman on special vitamins, prenatal vitamins, and they can get you all ready. That way you're healthy and getting the right vitamins so that your baby grows nice and healthy. At the end of week 8, the embryo is called a fetus. By the end, the fetus can move its arms, fingers, toes, and make facial expressions. This is all still part of the first trimester. And also, by the end of the first trimester, fingerprints are present on your fingers. The second trimester, so this would be months 4, 5, and 6. Here's another sonogram. You can see the baby's got its toe in its mouth. Sometimes babies suck on their toes. So this is the period of growth from 18 to 20 weeks. The heartbeat can be heard. The fetus may suck its thumb and get the hiccups. They can get the hiccups and the mother can feel that. Isn't that interesting? The mother can feel the baby fluttering. So the baby fluttering is like they sort of shake their arms and legs, and scientists believe that the purpose of this fluttering is part of development of the nervous system that senses touch and things, and also development of muscles. Hair develops and the eyes open. The lungs are still not fully developed. The baby could be born, but chances of survival are slim. So if a woman has a baby prematurely, and it's during the second trimester, months 4, 5, and 6, one of the reasons that it's hard for them to survive is because their lungs are not fully developed, and they might have to be in the NICU. I forget what that stands for, but it's a place at the hospital where they keep premature babies, and they give them special care to make sure that they do okay before they can be taken home. The third trimester, so this is months 7, 8, and 9. The fetus grows rapidly during this time. Fat develops under the skin to insulate the body. Mom must eat lots of protein for brain growth. So it's important that mom eats good, healthy foods with lots of vitamins and lots of protein for brain development. Nerve cells in the brain form at 250,000 per minute. That's why we need that protein, because it's helping to form those brain cells. 250,000 per minute, isn't that crazy? The fetus may respond to sounds from the environment, so environment around the mother. Some people, when they're pregnant, they will play like soothing music, like classical music for their baby, or they might even put headphones on their stomach or something like that. It's just something that people do. All right, so those are the 3 trimesters. You're going to fill those out on assignment 3 for this week in those stages. So here are some important structures for development of the fetus. The placenta is the connection between the mom and the baby. The fetus is the organ of respiration, the placenta is the fetus's organ of respiration, nourishment, and excretion. So the mother is supplying oxygen to the baby through the fetus. She's supplying nourishment like vitamins and nutrients through the food she eats to the baby through the fetus. And then excretion, the placenta is absorbing waste and getting rid of it from the baby. So oxygen and nutrients diffuse across the barrier to the baby, and carbon dioxide and metabolic waste, the waste the baby creates, diffuses into the mom's blood, and then her body gets rid of it. And here's a diagram over here showing those parts. Normal placenta attachment. So here's the placenta up here at the top. So this is the woman's belly. The head of the baby is actually facing downward. Here's her cervix, and then underneath of that, like right here where my cursor is, that would be the vagina, and then the opening of a woman's body. So the baby would come through the cervix, out of the vagina, out of the woman's body when it's born. Here's the umbilical cord that's attached to the baby, like where your belly button is, that's attached to the placenta, supplying oxygen and nutrients. And then as the baby releases carbon dioxide, that's going back through the umbilical cord to the placenta, right? So this is the attachment of the mother to the baby. And then this is a placenta previa, which is not attached to the inside of the mother properly. So you can see that it's attached down here. So that would be like abnormal, but it should still, work out fine. The umbilical cord has 2 arteries and 1 vein. Within it, it connects the fetus to the placenta. It's also how we get our belly button. So those arteries are supplying blood with oxygen and nutrients to the baby, and then the vein is taking carbon dioxide and waste back to the mother to get rid of from the baby. So more important structures of development of the fetus. The amniotic sac is a membrane that surrounds the fetus within the placenta. So there's an amniotic sac that is all around the baby here, right? That surrounds it and protects the baby. Amniotic fluid is the liquid within the amniotic sac that allows the fetus to move. So around the baby, there's liquid that's called amniotic fluid, and the baby is in liquid, and it's getting oxygen through the umbilical cord. So this makes growth possible so that the baby can get bigger inside the womb. There's that fluid, and as the baby gets bigger, there's less fluid inside of the womb because the baby's taking up more room. It allows temperatures to remain constant, and it provides protection for the baby because that water is like a insulating layer and absorbs shocks and things like that if the woman bumped into something. When the sac breaks, the fluid is released. This is called the water breaking. So when this sac that's around the baby breaks, like when it's about time for the baby to be born, then there's fluid released down through the cervix, through the vagina, and out of the woman, and that's called the water breaking. And that, along with the start of contractions, when her uterine lining starts contracting, getting ready to push the baby out of her body, those are all signs that it's time to go to the hospital. The baby is coming. Here's a video, just an animation, not like a video of actual birth or anything like that. Diagnosis of the fetus. Ultrasound. Sound waves bounce off the fetus and are converted to light images on a screen used to determine growth, sex, and position of the fetus. So at different stages of development, when a woman is pregnant, she's going to go to the doctor to get an ultrasound. They're going to look at the baby to make sure everything's progressing like it's supposed to. They can determine the sex of the baby. Here's a picture here. I don't know if you can see like this little nub there. We can tell that that's a boy. I guess if you're an ultrasound technician, you would know that. And then here you can see like these little parts here. We can tell that that's a girl from this picture up here. If you're an ultrasound technician, it seems like it would be hard for me to tell, but I guess they know what they're doing, right? Amniocentesis, a prenatal test. A karyotype can be created from the fetus cells to check for birth defects and disorders. So I've got a picture on the next slide that explains this a little bit more. Remember, we talked about karyotypes earlier in the year, where you can take a person's DNA and make a picture of their chromosomes, and you can learn about them. Remember, an example of a birth defect is chromosome 21, also known as Down syndrome. So in the 21st set of chromosomes, there would be a non-disjunction, which would cause 3 to be in that spot, and that, you know, is Down syndrome. All right, so ultrasound equipment here. In amniocentesis, a hollow needle is inserted through the mother's abdomen into the uterus, and amniotic fluid is drawn for analysis. So they're going to put a needle through the belly into the uterus and draw some of the amniotic fluid, analyze it, and that's how they make that karyotype to see if the baby has any sort of birth defects. And this right here, this is an ultrasound equipment here. They're going to put like a gel on the mother's belly, and then they rub this ultrasound wand around, and it bounces waves off of the inside of her uterus, and it makes a picture of the baby. Ultrasound equipment continued. A genetic profile can be created from the fetus cells to check for conditions and genetic defects. So that's from amniocentesis. And that's it for this week. That's the end of these assignments. We will go over the male reproductive system next week. I hope you guys are doing good. So we've got 4 more weeks left in the school year. So this week, you know, we're starting the reproductive system. We'll do the female reproductive system this week. Next week, we will do the male reproductive system. The week after that, we might go into like virtual dissections of the frog and the pig. I hope you guys are doing good, staying busy. You know, make sure you get some exercise, you know, take a walk outside while social distancing, right? And have a good week. And I will talk to you next week.